Hello YouTube and welcome to another exciting episode of Slotted In There, and this time it's an emergency because it's episode 9 and we've got so much tech and so much gaming still to talk about, but it's nearly the end of a series. So what do we need to do? We need to ring those 3 9s and bring in my colleagues Tim and Damien.
Hello.
Let's just have a nice cup of tea and wait for it to all blow over.
Nice cup of tea, fair enough then. Guys, following on from our discussion last week, and when we were talking about the PS5 Pro, wasn't it? And the other things you could get. I had a friend I was talking to this week who also watched it. And we sort of convinced them, that they thought we could get these other consoles instead of buying a PS5 Pro. It was the whole Sega Tower, wasn't it, that we could get? You get a Mega Drive, the Mega CD, and a 32X. And they seemed really up for it. But I was looking with them online at the retro stuff, and it's really expensive now. It's ridiculously expensive to get all that tower together. Oh, really expensive, which got them a bit down, and very upset. I mean, they were really, really upset. I mean, I just couldn't console them. Let's get on with the show. So it's This Week in Gaming. You should know by now this is part of the show where we look at the games we've been playing this week. Some are good, some are bad, but either way, it's a service to you to whether you want to go and get them or not play them at all. Gentlemen, who would like to go first this week?
I will go first this week with an amazing game, Earthfall. Ever wondered what it would be like to live in the Pacific Northwest during an alien invasion? Well, wonder no more. You and up to 3 friends can partake in a little alien spring cleaning as part of the Earth resistance, while you complete various missions and start to take back the world. Entanglements with procedurally generated hordes of extraterrestrial drones and their various special counterparts make this co-op shooter challenging, engaging and fun, and you'll never experience the same playthrough twice. There are various weapons to use and other usable items like constructible defences, not to mention printable guns. Yes, printable guns from the gun printers that just so happen to be located within the map, which is nice. Anywho, this game is basically Left 4 Dead, but with aliens, in Unreal Engine, with really nice graphics, and it's pretty good. Holospark, the developer behind this, have definitely been inspired with some very specific shooter games, and they've managed to produce something a bit good. A mid-spec toaster can easily run this without issue, or you can play it on console as it's available across the board, although it is missing crossplay. If you have some friends on the same system that like Left 4 Dead or World War Z, then I would suggest grabbing this game and giving it a go. Well then boys, that's the Unreal version of basically Left 4 Dead that was written in Source. What do you think?
Well, you know that I'm a sucker for Left 4 Dead. So there's every possibility I might be a bit of a sucker for this one too. I'm amazed I haven't played it actually.
It's definitely worth it. I'll be honest, it is kind of like the poor relative version of Left 4 Dead, but visually, being on the Unreal Engine, stunning to look at.
Is it better than Back 4 Blood?
Yes.
Well, I'll give it a go. I'm down.
Yeah, it did look good to me. I liked it. Aliens, who doesn't go around shooting aliens and everything? And I suppose Left 4 Dead's a really high quality game though, high caliber. So even if it's just not as good, it's still going to be a good game, isn't it? And good's good enough. Entertain. That's what we want, isn't it? Shall I go next? And we'll save Tim's brilliant game for last because he's been on a run, hasn't he? Past 2 episodes. It's got to be good, hasn't it? So this week, I wasn't feeling too good last week, wasn't I? And all that lot. So, and this week, I've just been having some very bad dreams. So Nightmare on the ZX Spectrum, yeah, this is based on the classic 80s kids TV show that we all enjoyed in the UK, at least anyway. And yeah, you basically got to go into a room, and instead of, obviously on a TV show you didn't know, you couldn't see anything, and you had your colleagues helping you, but obviously you can see now what's going on. But you go into sort of those situations, so there's puzzles to solve in certain rooms, and you've obviously got a sort of time limit in the sense of you've got a percentage of your life of how you get through, and when it gets to 0, you obviously die, and you'll have to start again. There is sort of ways obviously to get health as you go through, or a bit more food to give you a bit more energy. This guy on the wall, yeah, you're going to end up hating him, because he's really frustrating. Because he did, this was in a TV series, he'd ask you questions, and obviously if you got it wrong, you'd lose your life or end the game. And it's the same principle here. You've got to get at least 1 out of 3 questions right. I mean, but look at the questions. I mean, I don't want to spoil them, obviously, if you want to play the game, but I mean, what? Sometimes my brain doesn't work like that. But if you manage to get past them, you progress, and there's further different styles of levels as you go along as well, like rapidly moving walls or saws in this part, and then yeah, you get to more puzzles, and it's a very puzzle one, and you feel like, oh, you're getting to the puzzle, how to solve it, and then you might just run out of energy, so you have to start again. So if anything, it's a bit like one of those sort of like Souls-like games, but in a Spectrum version, because you're gonna have to keep doing it, going back, and you'll get very frustrated and sometimes die really easily and not progress very far. But it's actually a really enjoyable game, and it's one worth playing out. It's a brand new game that's literally just come out in the past month or so for the ZX Spectrum, and if you really liked Nightmare, the original TV show from the 80s, I think you're really going to enjoy this game, so it's well worth looking into. So what do you think of that, guys? Some brand new retro style gaming.
I'd like to actually have a go at that. I will be Spectrum. The ZX Spectrum has a heavy place in my heart that I love, but I love the TV series as well, so I would definitely be up for playing on that.
Yep, it's very good. And not only that, before Tim jumps in, look at that, an actual cassette. So I was obviously playing the digital version, but you can buy a cassette. So when I eventually fix my Spectrum in about 2027, I can play it properly on a cassette. That'll be great.
Although the loading screen was giving me PTSD, the flashback that I had to the waiting for a game to load for like 10 minutes, and then for some reason something went wrong just as it finished loading, and you're like, press play again. Wind it back first. You've got to wind it back first.
Yeah.
God, that's something we don't have to deal with these days anymore. It's just even the winding it back.
No one feels the pain, like say, of finally waiting. It felt like 10 minutes for a game to load, and then it just crashes at the end. You're like, for goodness.
I do remember being incredibly jealous of a friend who had the ZX Spectrum Plus 3, which had the floppy disk drive, and his games would load in like no time at all. It's like, oh, if only. It's interesting they brought that back.
Yeah, we'll have to see. So, yeah, so if you want a bit of retro action, go for that one. It's a quite fun game. Yeah. Anyway, brilliant. Let's see what Tim has in store for us this week.
Well, this week I've also been playing a game that was in the Source Engine, The Stanley Parable.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
The Stanley Parable is a very weird game. It's basically you versus the narrator.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
You can choose to either work with or against the narrator at any given moment, or mix and match as you go along through the story. Ultimately, you'll make it to some kind of ending, although that isn't necessarily the end of the game. The narrator will often restart the story and force you to replay sections of it again. However, things may have changed. Although the narrator has a comforting and settling voice, there's something eerie and not quite right about it at the same time. It reminds me vaguely of the book from Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, albeit with a sinister intent. Much of the joy of this game is derived from just frustrating that narrator.
No, not the right. Why would I have ever said it was to the right? What was I thinking? It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
The narrator will do his best to railroad you down his preferred route.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
Often with comedic effect.
I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood.
Sometimes he'll get so annoyed he'll throw you into somebody else's game.
Well, Stanley, is this any better? At last, the one thing you've always desired. A game I had absolutely nothing to do with. But is it enough? Tell me that, Stanley. Will it ever be enough? Oh, it's a puzzle. Critical thinking, Stanley. Your forte. Genius.
Although the narrator is your nemesis for the sake of this game, he will often try to convince you that he's not.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you...
You know, during the course of making this video, I realized that I've beaten the game because I have now become the narrator.
Once this ends, after it all comes to a close, then I'll be back. The end will be here soon. Very soon. I can wait.
So, Tim, do you often hear voices?
Frequently, I try to, not listen to them too much. The killing has to stop, really.
The level of humor that's in that game is just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I know it's like I say, most of the fun of the game is just annoying the narrator, and it's so well executed to have that kind of level of narration all the way through the game, and it gels. It's all one piece. There is no seams between you and the narrator. It just plays, and it's beautiful, but it is a very weird concept.
The voice actor, the perfect voice for that role. It was like specifically for that voice. It was brilliant.
Yeah, I remember back in the days when I played Dota 2, I managed to get a hold of the narrator voice pack for Dota 2. So you're getting triple kills and stuff, and it's you can hear the narrator. It's just beautiful.
Jolly good, jolly good. Well, yeah, another cracking game. I think we've done a brilliant service again this episode. We just keep getting better. Let's see if we can end on a high next week with 3 brilliant games as well. And as long as one's not a card game, we'll be all right.
It will be a card game. It's Tim. He can't stop himself.
Can't stop myself.
Now it's time for that part of the show where we show you a brilliant bit of tech from the past or the present. You can currently get it, or it's something you could have got a long time ago and may have disappeared now. Who knows? But it's some brilliant tech that you should have or should have had in your life. That's enough rambling from me. Guys, are you ready to see this week's What the Tech?
Always.
What do you think of that, gentlemen?
Well, that's not a lot to go on, is it?
No, it's like I hardly give you any of a picture just to figure it out. It's a bit of a flaw with the concept of the game, isn't it?
I'm already hating on this one. Last week you beat me, and that frustrated me. What was that thing called again? The thing on top of the helicopter?
The Jesus nut.
The Jesus nut.
The Jesus nut.
Great bit of tech. But we're focusing on this bit of tech this week.
Is it a Tic Tac? Is it chewing gum?
It does look like chewing gum.
Could be. Yeah, I can see where you're going through with that.
Is it an orthopedic pillow?
Probably another good guess. Yep. Just have a swig of tea while I'm waiting.
The corner side
Well,
of a trampoline.
If I was having a serious guess at this point, I would probably go with something like, not necessarily an air tag, but something similar, like a tile or something along those lines.
They're very good guesses. Would you like me to give you the options of what it could be?
Oh,
Yes.
Oh, yes. Is it A, shoes that can measure your blood pressure when you walk? Is it B, a marshmallow that helps you lose weight as it expands once eaten and takes up more space in your stomach, so it makes you feel full? If that makes any sense. Or is it C, a coffee mug you can use to iron your clothes with?
I'm going to go with B because
Because what? You like marshmallows?
I like marshmallows and feeling full.
I like marshmallows. I like turtles. No, well, I'm going to go with C. Coffee mug you can use to iron your clothes. I mean, you'd have to wash your clothes again afterwards. There's a very strong chance you're just going to put, coffee all over whatever it is you're ironing. I mean, maybe they put some kind of a, sippy cup lid on it or something.
Maybe.
Why would you need shoes that measure your blood pressure when you walk?
I know. I mean, people are wearing smartwatches now that can do that to some degree. And you can buy like home kits for blood pressure and stuff. Why would you need one that measures it while you walk?
I wonder what everybody else would think right now. I think they should leave a comment.
Comment right now what your guess is. Pause the video.
Somewhere down there.
Comment. Yeah, down there. Not there. Down there.
No, down there.
Right then, gentlemen. So are we set on our answers? Do you think?
Yes.
So, who's going for what?
Marshmallow.
You're going for marshmallow.
I'm going for coffee mug.
You're going for a coffee mug. No one thinks it's shoes that can measure your blood pressure. Okay, fair enough then. No. And the answer is, it is C, a coffee mug you can use to iron your clothes with.
Of course it is.
Of course it is.
Everybody needs one of those.
And if we see it in action, as you can see, you can get up in the morning and put your hot brew in it. And, while it's maybe cooled down a bit, if it's too hot, you can iron your clothes.
I noticed he's ironing a black shirt. It kind of makes a lot of sense.
There's probably a niche market, like you say. You might spill your coffee, especially first thing in the morning. Like,
how hot must your brew be to iron the? You're obviously not going to drink it whilst you're doing the ironing.
Well, that's it. That's why you iron with it first, and you let it cool down a bit, don't you? Especially black coffee, because there's no milk in it to cool it down. It's obviously going to be really, really.
I have some concerns about the very flat base, because if you get a little bit of moisture under that and you put it down on any flat surface and then you go to lift it again, that's going to create a sort of vacuum seal and your mug is going to go clang straight into your face. That's
maybe, but I don't think it's an everyday use mug, is it? It's for ironing.
It's dangerous. It's for idiot. Why? If somebody owns this, I need to know about it. I need to know your experiences with how dreadful this is as an idea.
Well, I'm sure it's very popular, isn't it? I mean, it's an amazing piece of tech, as always. And that's what
a regular mug.
Get a regular mug. Do you try and iron your clothes with that regular mug?
No, weirdly, I use an iron.
Well, there's your downfall. See, just get 2-in-1, a mug that you can use as an iron. Keeps your coffee.
I'm just perplexed with that even being a thing.
Well, it's what we're here to do.
I could get one of those and use it after I've used my runaway alarm clock. That would be it.
You do bring us some rubbish, Chris. Honestly.
I mean, it's brilliant tech. You just weren't aware of it. It's out there in the world anyway. But that's what the tech for this week. Hooray!
Mm. So, gentlemen, on to the discussion portion. Now, I have an interesting question. What do you think your favorite game would be that does not use a conventional control system? By which I mean you can't use a mouse and keyboard, and you can't use a controller of any sort. What would you pick?
To the
Do you want me
game to go with the
Yeah,
controller.
game to go with the control. Well, I mean, shall we talk about the control systems that are available that do not
I know which one I
sort of
would
measure
pick
up to?
straight out the box.
All right.
What,
Well,
the
I know
control
as well.
system?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the game that
Go on
goes with it. I would go
Damien.
with the Microsoft Kinect and Kinect Adventures.
Ooh,
Amazing.
Kinect Adventures.
Absolutely amazing.
You might have to remind me what kind of, because Kinect Adventures, that offered like different sort of game scenarios, didn't it?
It did. So you had there's a whole host of things that was on there. Whitewater rafting, where you had to move the raft side to side and jump to collect things, or you
That's
had
the
to
one I
go through
remember.
parts where you had to actually reach out and pull yourself through them. There was all sorts of different operations that you had to do to play the game, but you were the controller. Your body movements did whatever the character needed to do on the screen. And you had to stand up to do it. You couldn't do it like a Wii remote where you could sit down, eat a box of Maltesers whilst just flapping it about.
You were up with a Wii remote if you're doing it properly. None of this.
You were laid
Even if
back on the couch and you were there going
Just
like,
doing.
that's the, yeah.
Well,
Go on then, Chris. What have you got?
well, as you can see, I like a bit of movement, so I could have gone with a dance mat because who wouldn't want a dance mat? But because I like to rock out, I'd go with Rock Band, or you could go with Guitar Hero, just a guitar, just like rocking out. It's great, absolutely brilliant, so much fun, and you could just stand in your living room and pretend you're a rock star, rocking along to your favorite tunes. And if you were bad as well, you got booed. That was the great thing. If you were rubbish, there's like a boo, and you're like, oh my god, it's too realistic, like flashbacks. But yeah, no, it's really good fun. And then yeah, you can just look an idiot and like you can rock out and you could lift your guitar up, and it did
The power chord.
the power thing, so you could just wait for the solo and it'd look really cool.
Everybody looks like Bill and Ted.
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Bon Jovi.
I think I'd probably rather look like Bill and Ted.
Bill and Ted.
No, but yeah, I had all the rock bands and all the guitar heroes, and I want to get them back really because you get rid of these things at the time. But yeah, I was well into it, and all that sort of thing. So yeah, but I mean to be fair though, the Kinect are probably a lot better one as a sort of controller. I'll have to admit that's a good call. But what can Tim come up with to beat those two suggestions then?
Well, I would, because of course PlayStation came up with their own. I'm not suggesting that this is my choice, but PlayStation came up with their own version of the Kinect, didn't they? What was it called? The
Oh, they had the
iToy, was it?
iToy, didn't they?
There was
Yeah,
an iToy
Yeah.
and they had that motion thing where it looked like it had two big like
Move. Was it Move? PlayStation.
Yeah,
Move?
the PlayStation Move, I think it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
they were kind of weird because that was it trying to tap the like the Wiimote market, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I don't know. There were, of course, are some other alternatives like VR. Now, VR is a good one because, yes, you have kind of controllers in your hands, but you can also do things where certainly with some of the more modern headsets, for a choice, I'm going to have to pick something. And what I'm going to go with is Elite Dangerous in VR with voice attack. You guys familiar with voice attack?
no VR thing.
No. Voice attack is its own thing. Now, admittedly, these things are not necessarily native to the game. You don't have to have VR to play Elite Dangerous, but it really adds something to the game when you're sort of moving your head around and interacting with the controls around you. You're not doing it by having to like plug it into a keyboard or move your mouse to move your head or anything like that. You really are just moving around in that space. But voice attack is something that you can buy, not specifically as an add-on for Elite Dangerous, but you can get it for other games where effectively you can say commands to your computer and your computer will then execute macros. So you can tell it to open such a menu or tell it that you want the ship to move in a certain way. So you can use voice attack in conjunction with VR, and all of a sudden you can be virtually hands-free on the whole thing. You're just doing it with your voice and just moving your hands around in the environment. You're not actually having to put your hands on anything. And that, I think, is pretty cool.
Kinect had that built in too.
Yeah, but you didn't have Elite Dangerous.
I'd be hands-free on Elite Dangerous because I wouldn't touch it. But there you go.
Not the new Elite Dangerous, at any rate.
Anyway, not my cup of tea. But there you go. No, that's pretty cool. I think they're pretty good suggestions.
I've just remembered Rocksmith.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I had
Rock Band, but it was an actual guitar.
Well, you had to have your own actual guitar, but yeah, it was the adapter, so you could plug it straight into your console, and then you could play along with the actual guitar and learn guitar properly. But I had that.
And
I just
Nintendo
never got on with it.
have the little bongo drums as well.
They did, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was also one of the, I think it was it Sega or some? Oh, it might have been PlayStation 1, the skateboard. So you could play Tony Hawk's. It was literally just a board.
Yeah.
You stood on.
For ride. It was
That sounds familiar.
terrible, but yeah, absolutely.
I'm still waiting for the day when we get BCIs, brain computer interfaces, and then it's just strapped to your head and you're totally hands-free. Then you don't even have to move. That would be perfect. My ideal weekend.
But now let's throw it down to the comments. People watching, make sure you write in the comments down below what bits of tech you got or peripherals that aren't controllers that you think, if we've not mentioned anything, put it down in the comments so we can spread the joy. Because the communication between you and us is what makes YouTube special. Hurrah.
It's your letters, it's your letters. It's your letters, it's your letters.
So this is a part of the show where we deal with your letters and solve your problems, because we're that caring. We need to help people of the world. It's what YouTube does. We help people of the world, and we're helping one of you now by the only way we know how, by playing video games. But we get a decision and it helps your life problem. Let's just pass over to Damien.
Some say he once won the Tour de France on a tricycle. Others say his belly button is a power outlet. All we know is he's the Games Meister.
Here we go again, boys. Another week, another letter. I'm pretty sure you're getting a ghostwriter to write these introductions for you. They're very, very good. Thank you. On to this week's letter. And this week, our viewer has a dilemma as to whether they should continue to encourage their employers' bad eating habits or try and steer them to a more healthier lifestyle. Let's have a look at what dilemma they are facing. Dear Slot It In There team, I hope this letter finds you well. It's me, Burke, from the dark and mysterious trapdoor. You know, the one with all the creepy creatures and bizarre happenings. Anyway, I've got a bit of a pickle, and I thought you maybe could help me out. You see, my master, the big, lumbering oaf who lives above the trapdoor, has been pestering me incessantly for food. Burke, he bellows, feed me. And being the loyal servant that I am, I scuttle down into the depths to fetch him his daily sustenance. But here's the rub. He's getting downright plump. I mean, he's starting to resemble a bloated slug more than a human. Now, I'm no expert in human physiology, or slug physiology for that matter, but I reckon this can't be good for him. His trousers are straining at the seams, and his belt buckle is threatening to pop off like a champagne cork. I've tried to broach the subject delicately, but he just grumbles and demands another plate of whatever slimy delicacy I can rustle up from the trapdoor pantry. So, dear Slot It In There, what's a conscientious monster to do? I've consulted my friend Boney, the skeleton who hangs out in the corner, but he's no help. He just cackles and rattles his bones, suggesting I feed my master even more. Make him roll down the stairs, he chortles. That'll be a laugh. But I'm torn. Should I keep indulging my master's gluttonous desires, risking his health, and turning him into a human blimp? Or should I put my foot, or whatever passes for a foot in my slimy anatomy, down and insist on a diet? Maybe I could slip some kale or quinoa into his next meal. Or perhaps I should stage an intervention, gather all the other creatures from the trapdoor, and have a heart-to-heart with him about portion control. What do you think, slotted in there? Any advice for a perplexed monster? Should I prioritise my master's happiness over his waistline? Or should I take a stand and say enough is enough? Yours in slimy servitude, Burke. Well, well, well. A dilemma indeed. What do you think, boys? Should our slimy friend encourage his master into a more healthier way of life, eating a few more vegetables and things like that, and reducing his portions? Or do you think he should continue on as a good servant and serving whatever his master demands? The choice, as always, is yours. And this week, the challenge will be undertaken by Tim and Chris. Tim and Chris, you will be battling it out in Super Smash Bros. The choice of the game settings is entirely up to you both. The outright winner of the game will choose which direction our viewer will take with his dilemma. Fight!
So, gentlemen, that's quite a problem that Burke has that we need to solve for him. So, really, the options are, should we let him get his master even more obese, which is a big problem in his country, I must say, or should he put his hands down so, there's not health problems and makes him go on a diet? I mean, that's pretty much my thing. You should be telling him to go on a diet. That's what I reckon. But what do you think?
Hold an intervention. Make him go on a diet.
Yeah, I'm thinking diet as well. I need to cut some weight, so if I have to do it, I'm not going to be suffering alone.
We're all thinking diet. Well, I mean, that's the correct way because, you want to live as long as you can, not have, health problems, obesity and all that lot. So we're all on that page. However, it's me versus Tim on this challenge. So I feel we've got to have a bit of a who should take what. So, Tim, do you want to, you saying diet, and shall I go just let him be happy and eat what he wants?
Well, to be fair, I would rather be happy and just eat what I want. So, no,
Okay.
I'm switching. I'm going to switch.
Okay, then. So, if you win, we're saying that he can be happy, eat what he wants, don't tell his master anything. But if I win, you got to intervene, get on a diet. Yeah?
Sure thing. Gluttony for the win.
Jolly good, then. Well, let's see how we got on. There we go. Oh,
I'm coming for you. I'm coming for you. Get back here. Get back here. No.
Right, we've got to solve stuff.
I love Super Smash Brothers. This is great.
Right. Just the menu.
I don't know.
Great.
I mean, I always like. What was it called? Sky Fox?
Star Fox, yeah.
Star Fox. That's it. I always liked that as a kid, but I don't know. I've got a soft spot for Yoshi. Donkey Kong. Oh, I think I'm going Donkey Kong.
Okay, I think I want to be Samus because, I just want to shoot you really and win. It's got to be the quickest way to win.
That could be a problem, couldn't it? Yeah. I suppose Donkey Kong doesn't have like a ranged attack.
No, I suppose not. Let's do a random one.
Random it is.
Right. Ready. Go.
Oh, okay.
What are the buttons?
Ooh, I got...
Get in there.
Oh, my good.
Oh,
I guess I don't need ranged attacks. Oh.
Just keep hitting
Oh,
it.
come on. Too slow being this big.
Oh, look at this. Getting straight in there. Just kick, love. Kick.
Ooh.
Hello.
Ooh.
Whip you. Whip you.
Really?
Look at this. Whipping. Kick you.
I'm really not.
Oh, he's not happy now.
How are you going to do like spinning bird kick? You're in the wrong game.
Oh, hello. Shoot you. That's what I want to do. Whip you. Headbutt me.
Oh.
Oh, what are you doing? Invisible. It's not fair. Dirty tactics going on in this game.
Yeah, that's right.
Eat that.
Oh. What's this thing? Can I pick that up?
what gives you.
Oh, I could pick it up, but it didn't do a lot. Oh, barrels is my territory. Come on. Oh, hello. What's going on now?
Happening? Where are you? Right, I'm stuck.
Now I've got a gun. Come back here.
Come here, I'm going to whip you.
No, no, no.
Oh, yeah,
wow,
there you
you're
go.
too fast.
I know exactly what I'm doing.
Oh, hello. Ooh. I got some clever move off there, but I don't know how I did it.
Here we go. Kick it. Oh, I've got a plant. What does that mean?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yes.
blow you off the edge.
No, 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 no.
I've somehow got a flower. I don't know what the flower's significance is.
No, I don't know, but it seemed to be blasting an awful lot of fire. Oh my god!
Oh,
my
you're
god!
gonna
No,
fall
no,
off
no!
just... Oh, see, I
What?
didn't even need to knock
No.
you off. You just... Yes. I think that was a clear victory. I mean, you just jumped off at the end because you couldn't take the pressure. Couldn't take the
Rematch. Best of 3.
No time. It's sorted.
Dag nabbit. Fine. You get to win another retro game. It's your thing, I suppose. Stupid Games Meister.
Well, boys, that happened. So what was it like, Chris? Absolutely smashing Tim.
Well, I take the name very seriously in Smash Brothers, and I thought I just had to, smash my colleague as quickly and as hardly as possible, which I feel I did because I'm very efficient.
Excuses, Tim?
Well, when Chris asked me if I wanted to smash, well, let's just say I misunderstood, so I didn't really know what the task was.
You just wanted some mashed potato, didn't you?
Hell yeah. I'm like Badger, Boris and Badger.
But like your decision that you wanted them to keep Burke's master happy and get really fat, I'm going to say no to you, Tim, and not have your mashed potato because we've decided Burke must stand up against his master and tell him to go on a diet because he needs to be healthy and all that a lot. Because I won, and that's the way it works. So there you go, Burke. We made a lovely decision for you. Yeah, not more I can say.
Yeah,
it was a convincing decision.
That's fair enough.
Yeah.
Decisive victory. Well done.
Well played.
And there we are. We're at the end of another great show. And don't forget, next week is the finale of the season. So, you got one more to endure or enjoy. Hopefully, enjoy. As ever, don't forget to like and subscribe.
Scroll down and let us know your thoughts in the comments section.
And tickle the bell so you're notified of any future updates and uploads. Nice.
And this week we'll end on a quote from a brilliant technical visionary and businessman of our times, Elon Musk, because, he does loads of good tech and he's really busy and he's quite popular for some people, but he does come out with some gems of wisdom. And let's end with one of his quotes now. And here it is. If you had to buy a new plane every time you flew somewhere, it would be incredibly expensive. And on that blue screen of death, it's the end of the show. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.